Hi, Namaskar. Hello friends. This is Dr. Ashish Shah from Samanvay Briefings. Today we are going to take a very interesting subject, which is also a lot of talked about, and you will see a lot of videos on the YouTube, especially on what may happen and what may not happen in the future. So there are all sort of predictions being made astrologically. So I think it's time that we should look whether one should believe in astrology or not, and how serious one should take it, when should one look into astrology, and things like that. So, because there are 50% of the people who don't believe in astrology, and then there are the others who believe in astrology. And then there are people who don't do a single thing without looking at the astrological chart and planetary positions. Plus, there are people who will abuse astrology for all its nonsense and whatever you want to say. So, I think the world is fairly divided on whether astrology works or not, whether the planet works or not, and if they work, how do they work, and all that stuff. So, let us see whether astrology really works or it's just all you can say fancy. So the first thing that one should think of is see, astrology is not a science in the strict term, because science is something where you can prove certain things through empirical evidence and repeatedly. It's not that once you can prove it or twice or thrice, right? You have to be consistent in your prediction, and then there has to be proper evidence of it. Unfortunately, though I am of the opinion that astrology does work, but a proper scientific record has not been made towards astrological findings. There are a lot of books, there are a lot of literature available on astrology, but to have astrology completely in the grip of scientific domain has not been done so far. And that is why the world is divided whether astrology works or not. See, my journey into this field is more than 30 years back, right? And I started as a layman just as anyone else. I also didn't believe in astrology and all that stuff. And I started through palmistry, and then I came into astrology. The results into palmistry were very difficult to analyze, because you see, you have to see the lines on your palm, and then you have to see various figures like triangles and squares and rectangles and all that stuff, which figure is where on which mount. There are different mounts below the fingers, so one has to see that, and which was fairly difficult, because how you can distinguish between a square and a rectangle on the palm, right? It's quite so you should have that knack and that expertise. On the contrary, astrological is rather simple, I would say, compared to palmistry, because everything is like everything you can see exactly what is the position of the planet to the extent of degree, minute, and seconds, right? And so you can connect the dots and do your analysis. So astrology is simple, and I would also say more logical to explain than your palmistry and other sciences. So a broad answer to this question whether astrology works or not is yes, astrology does work, right? However, astrologers may have their own interpretation for a same chart, same horoscope, right? Two or more or n number of astrologers can have different opinions about the same chart. That is the beauty of astrology, because things are so minute and subtle that there are a lot of variations possible within the same horoscope, and therefore the interpretations can differ from one astrologer to other astrologer. So what I mean to say is that astrologers may have different interpretations, and any one of them can be right, the others can be wrong. That doesn't mean that astrology is wrong. right? At least one has made the correct interpretation, proves that it does work, right? And it's not necessary that the same astrologer may prove to be correct always, right? It depends upon one's expertise and knowledge and experience and all that stuff. But the point is, astrology is correct. The astrological interpretation can be different and is vulnerable to being wrong and all that stuff, right? So now the question comes: should one really look into astrology before doing any work or not? In my opinion, and based upon my experience, this is my personal opinion, that one should not look into astrology on a day-to-day basis or even on a monthly basis or weekly basis. Astrology should be looked only when you are undertaking a major kind of work. For example, if you are starting a business, right, or a new venture, I think that is an important time that one should have or have a brief consultation with some good astrologer, because every horoscope is destined either to do good in job, service, or to do in business. There are very clear combinations, right? So if you don't have a combination for doing business, right, I think even if you spend 5-10 years in this line, in the business line, you will just waste your money and efforts and time without any concrete result. So I think it's good if you can check your horoscope before starting any venture or business. And even if you are doing business, whether one should invest or one should do consultancy or what kind of business one. So all these clues can come from astrology, good astrologers, right? So this is one place where one can go to have an astrological consultation. I think others people look into marriage also. So my opinion is that if you are into love marriage, then please don't see horoscope or something like that. Once you are committed to someone, just go ahead. There is no need to see the horoscope and all that thing. But if you have the choice, for example, if it's arranged marriage and if there are 10 candidates, then of course you can try to see which candidate matches best to your horoscope, right? So that is something else. But in general, one should not pay a lot of attention even here. And if something is destined, let it be destined. Just go ahead. If you find the other person to be good to your choice and to your liking, just go ahead. Okay. So I think astrology has to be very judiciously used. One should not try to use astrology everywhere. Other major place where I would suggest using astrology is when going traveling or something like. Because especially if you are going for a big travel, 4-5 days or 7 days or more than that, right? It's I think good to see how the general environment is, if there is any bad signals coming, and then you can try to plan your travel accordingly. So I think travel is another place where one can go for this thing. People also tend to go to astrologer before going for interview and before going for test and written test and all. I think that is very foolish. One should never go to astrologer before an interview or before any test, because that will get you biased, and even if you are clearing the exam or the interview, you will not be able to do so. So there is no use in going to astrologer for on these occasions. So friends, you can use astrology, but use it judiciously, and don't try to jump to astrology always or every day. You have to be really wise when to use astrology and not. So I hope this small podcast will help you in understanding the application of astrology and where to use it. Thank you. If you like our podcast, please like and subscribe to our channel. Thank you.